We're live.
Hi.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Rebel Revolution. This is Monica Stachin, your business strategy coach. And today I'm bringing you something different, something very special. I'm bringing you a guest that I've only recently met who blew my mind with his story of how he transformed his own life and continues to transform the lives of his clients with his knowledge about nutrition and integrative health. Did I say it right?
Yeah, exactly.
Welcome, Shayn Stavens, who's here with us today to share some knowledge about how we can deal with brain fog and fatigue as entrepreneurs in our lives, in our business, so we can perform best. So welcome, Shayn. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. Thank you so much, Monica, for having me here. And it really means a lot, to be able to share with your community and be able to share with you and share a little bit of my story, because I think it's going to resonate for a lot of people. We as entrepreneurs are not very good at taking care of ourselves sometimes.
No, we're not. We're not.
So, yeah.
So it's so important that you're here sharing it and giving us some tips, because we're all about giving, but we're never about receiving. A lot of us aren't about receiving, and especially if it is help to do with our health and looking after ourselves, we don't see that as a priority. So it's a great work you're doing.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate that. And so it all started out very early in life for me. I've always been interested in food and nutrition, fitness particularly. And, I went through grad school for nutrition and all of that to become a dietitian. And I learned a lot of really wonderful information. And at the same time, it wasn't information that was actually useful in keeping people healthy. It was information that was put forth through Western medicine, which is very challenging for many of us, not finding answers in Western medicine. And so I find the majority of the people that I work with are people that, like me, were frustrated with not getting answers from Western medicine. And so, yeah, after grad school, I went on and, did a bunch of different work in the industry of dietary supplements and things like that, while also struggling with this very underlying hidden autoimmune condition where I started having a lot of brain fog, fatigue, just lack of energy. And then it manifested into other not so great symptoms that I don't need to bore you all with, but ultimately it was really terrible and having a really significant effect on my life. And, so I went to a lot of different doctors and
did you
I
find
wasn't getting an answer. What's that?
Did you find it hard to be diagnosed?
The diagnosis wasn't so challenging. The diagnosis that I got was, it was livable, but they assume, as in Western medicine, is livable as you're going to live with these symptoms for the rest of your life. They put me on a lot of different medications to try to mitigate the symptoms, like prednisone and things like that. And that has a horrible impact on the physical body. And so I didn't like that. And, knowing who I am and energetically, I just felt like I was pushed to find different answers. And so, at this time in my life, I didn't know anything about personal development or the mind-body connection or any of that. It was just very scientific based. So I'm like, I'm going to go figure out what's wrong with me from a science perspective. So I went and did a whole bunch of my own research and found a lot of stuff about inflammation. And that is really what triggers a lot of these autoimmune conditions and causes the symptoms of brain fog and, fatigue and chronic fatigue syndrome and lupus and fibromyalgia and a lot of these other autoimmune conditions that are diagnosed, but they're kind of nebulous and the Western medicine doesn't really know why they happen. So yeah, I went and did a bunch of my own research and came up with a solution that really resonated for me. And it was, and if I can just share real quickly about what that looks like for your listeners, it's mostly like a combination of paleo, and keto. It's the
Ooh,
combination of the good parts of both, and getting rid of the bad parts of them as well.
how
So
does
focusing, what's that?
how does that look like, that combination of keto and paleo?
So very simple. Uh, if it doesn't grow in the ground or have parents, then it's probably not the best for you. Focus on whole foods where you can, particularly vegetables. And so that's kind of what I did for me. Adopted an anti-inflammatory lifestyle based on research that I did as far as foods that were anti-inflammatory. Really high in vegetables, the more colors, the better. Small
Mm.
amounts of lean protein and fats, good quality fats. That's important. And the biggest thing that I would share here is, stay away from processed things. So you're talking about like your cakes, cookies, candies, chips, unfortunately, like fried foods, everybody loves fried foods. Who doesn't love fried foods, right?
Takeaway, right?
Hmm.
I think a
Yeah,
lot of us, we're guilty of wanting to just quickly eat something, whatever's available, fast,
yeah,
so we can get back into working.
right. If your food is delivered to you in 5 minutes or less,
Yeah.
then it's probably not a good thing,
No.
right? So that means it's probably highly processed and wasn't recently made. So a lot of the work that I did for myself was not only finding the right foods to eat, but also figuring out how to prepare them in a way that I actually enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm.
So, in my group program that I do, like I've totally created a whole series of recipes and video of me preparing food to help people totally like be able to live this lifestyle in a way that doesn't seem super challenging. So, yeah, getting rid of the processed food is huge, right? Second would be minimizing sugar and alcohol. So processed food, you're going to, if you get rid of that, you're going to minimize a lot of the sugar. And there's still a lot of people that just, eat sugar and things, in their coffee or soda. A lot of people get a lot of liquid calories, and that's all sugar.
Right.
Right. And so the other one would be dairy. Dairy is a big factor, probably the biggest actually, in creating inflammation. So all of these three things that I've given you, four really, are so important for getting rid of if you want to reduce your inflammation. And if you want to have a healthy body, you don't want to have inflammation. So, let me give you an example. Like, do you like milk? Do you drink milk, or have you drank milk? I assume you have.
Yeah, I drink milk. I'm trying to move to coconut slowly.
Good, good.
Slowly.
Coconut is good. And one that I've really actually found that I like quite well is macadamia nut milk.
Oh,
Try
I've never
that.
tried that one.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Cashew milk can be irritating to some people, so might stay away from that. And soy milk has its own set of issues that aren't my favorite. So yeah, anyways, I know this is like getting off in the weeds a little bit as far as like talking about different milks, and that's not where we're going. But what I'm asking you is, when you drink dairy milk, do you notice a sensation inside of your mouth and maybe inside of your nose at all?
I find it hard to remember because I don't normally drink just straight milk. It's usually in the coffee that I would have milk.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm trying to think, doesn't it a bit dry out your mouth a little bit?
So it creates a lot of mucus.
Mm.
So very
Yeah.
thick, like, sensation in your mouth, not able to, like spit or even breathe well through your nose, maybe.
Why is
So that is an immune response to dairy. And I would say, I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's something like 90 some odd % of human beings cannot process dairy milk in a way that is good for us. It's most people. So, a lot of people think of lactose intolerance, but it's not that at all. It's actually an immune response to some of the proteins within the milk. And I mean, if you think about it in terms of what the rest of the animal planet is doing, because we're all living here with the rest of the animals, we're the only mammal that drinks another mammal's milk.
It is a bit sickening when you think about it.
Right.
But on the other hand, there's still no good cheese alternative out there.
I haven't found one either. And
does the cheese belong in the milk category for you?
it does. It doesn't. It doesn't. So hard cheeses like Parmesan, things like that. So the harder, the better. And the reason is the bacteria that is actually used to create those cheeses has broken down some of those irritating proteins or amino acids so that it's more easily digested. Does that make sense? So, if you're talking like mozzarella or a soft cheese, that's going to be more irritating. But if it's like hard cheddar or Gouda or Parmesan or something like that, that's going to be better. So if you eat more of those hard cheeses, you're better off, or more aged cheeses, you're going to be far better off. So some cheese is okay. That, isn't going to kill you. Ice cream and milk are the more irritating things to stay away from.
Great news about the hard cheese, Shayn. Thank you.
Yeah. We all love cheese.
We all love cheese.
I live in Wisconsin in the United States, so everybody here is a big cheese fan.
Wisconsin. Isn't that where they made Making a Murderer?
Making a what?
Making a Murderer.
Yes, totally. Totally, yeah.
No.
I live so I only moved here last year, and I saw that documentary on Netflix and was engrossed by it, obviously, as anybody that's ever seen it probably has been. And I asked people where I live, which is near Madison, which is anywhere near Manitowoc County where that took place. But a lot of people don't even know that it happened or that there's a documentary about that.
And here we are in the UK talking about it today.
Right, several years later after the documentary, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And so I understand that giving up those things sounds like, oh, fuck, I can't do that, right? That's the big thing I run into in working with my clients. They're like, how can I get rid of all of this at once? And it can be totally overwhelming, and I get that. So do one thing at a time and see how you feel differently. And that's what I would encourage you to do.
So what would you say are the top 3 symptoms of us having inflammation, and what is it caused by when it comes to entrepreneurs?
Yeah, so not only is it caused by an environmental issue like your food that you're taking in, but it's also stress. So, a lot of the people that I talked about this at the beginning too, a lot of the people I work with are people that really are struggling to not give all of themselves, right? You are having an issue where you're pouring from an empty cup, and that just isn't sustainable. And I would argue that if you're somebody that is about service and you're not giving 100% of your best self, then you're not being of service. And so that's how I approach it and how I stay consistent in the things that I do for my body and my physical health and my mental health too, to be quite honest. I have to make sure that my cup is full to be able to give to others.
Absolutely. And it's so important. This is something that you guys should write down. You can't give from an empty cup. And if you're not looking after yourself, then you're not giving the best possible service to your clients.
Right. Yeah. So, as far as taking care of your body, that's huge. And when you take care of that body, it allows you to take care of the other parts of your health as well. But if you're not, so I look at the bodies in kind of a tiered system. So it's physical body, mental, emotional, spiritual, right? And if you're not taking care of this very basic one down here at the bottom, you can't take care of the others at the top. So if you want to be a spiritual guru and you want to be in a good space mentally and emotionally, you got to take care of your physical body. You just have to.
We often say that bodies are temple, but how often do we actually walk that talk?
Right. Yeah.
Right?
It's so surprising, right? Well, and from my perspective, we're all just spiritual beings having a human existence. And, like, we all need to take care of this human aspect of us so that we can learn the lessons that we need to learn.
So where would be a good point to start on this journey?
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so very simply. So you talk about some of the foods that I was talking about. Just transition away from some of those. So start simple, like maybe establish 2 or 3 days out of the week where you avoid those, or you get rid of one of those food groups altogether for a period of time and see how you feel differently. And I guarantee you, if you do it for 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to feel very, very different, even if it's just one thing. So start that way. The other things that I would encourage people to do is drink lots of water. So, I know I haven't talked about that yet, but hydration status is so, so very important. And a lot of people don't properly hydrate. See, there you go, lemon water. I know what that is. And the recommendations differ depending on who you're talking to and how much you exercise. Don't exercise, things like that. But kind of a good rule of thumb that I tell people is aim for 100 ounces, and the closer you get, the better. Now, if you're somebody that's working outside for 8 to 10 hours a day and you're sweating a lot, kind of thing, you're probably going to need a lot more than that. So, yeah, that will also help your body cleanse toxins, and it's going to help you recover a lot faster from stress. So the biggest thing that I wanted to get to is find ways in your life that you can reduce stress. So start meditating if you're not already doing that. Hopefully you are, because meditation is incredibly important for your physical body, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. It's got so much peer-reviewed research on its effectiveness to support a good physical health. You just need to do it if you're not doing it. Start slow there. Just do 5 minutes a day and work your way up from there. So, do that. Exercise. And I know a lot of people get so irritated when they hear that. They're like, I just can't find time, or I don't know how to do that. When I say exercise, exactly. When I say exercise, I don't necessarily mean going and killing it yourself at the gym for 2 hours. What I'm talking about is find ways that you can move your body in a way that you actually like. So a lot of the people I work with do things like hiking and walking and stuff like that. Do as much of that as you can. I am somebody that parks at the furthest end of a parking lot, for example, or
I'm like of that person that you are. I will do anything. I will do anything to park the closest to the entrance.
Yeah. So if you can park far away, that's going to be, you're going to get a little bit of exercise. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So
being lazy.
And then also, another thing is on top of, sorry, my girlfriend's son just got here and I wasn't expecting him home yet. So I'm a bit confused. Anyways, yeah, so I don't remember where I was going. I got totally sidetracked.
So talking about walking further away, like introducing some form of exercise, whether it is, dancing or walking or hiking.
Yes. Yeah. So some sort of physical activity that you like. And people always ask me, they're like, well, what's the best exercise to do? I'm like, whichever one you can do consistently. I don't care what it is. Just pick something that you love and go do that.
That's great advice. Because we often think that we need to, be at the gym 5 times a week, where we could just put some favorite playlists on Spotify and just dance it out, right?
Right. Exactly. Yep. Totally. So, there's even video games, like getting a Wii and playing the sports games on the Wii. If video games is your jam, there's a lot of different things that you can do. Go outside and be active. And especially with the stress we have in our world right now with COVID and all of the things happening related to that too, it's really very, very important that you're taking care of yourself so you can help take care of your clients. Minimize your stress where you can, because it's coming at us from all angles. Here in the States, not only are we dealing with COVID stuff, but now we've got the election and riots and all kinds of interesting things happening. So, everybody's lives are full at the moment. So full in a way that's not good. Fill yourself up from the inside first so that you can help other people.
So lastly, how fast will you see results and see your brain fog shifting and your fatigue improving? You feel, if you drink more, eat clean, and meditate and start moving your body a bit?
In as simple as 2 days, very fast. If you do all of those things consistently, it's almost instantaneous, I would say, in terms of how you experience things as a human. If you just talk about the mental shift that happens when you've decided to do something like that and what that triggers inside of your physical body, right? Because now you're rewarding yourself for good behavior. Mm-hmm. And so that triggers a whole cascade of really amazing neurotransmitters, that those feel good hormones, right? That are going to keep you moving forward. Yeah. So, you're going to feel it right away. All you need to do is commit. So I know that sounds cliche, but it really is. It just boils down to a decision. You just need to decide. You've been sitting on the sideline probably for far too long thinking, I need to do this and I need to do that. Really, it just boils down to choosing.
Thank you so much for coming here today and telling on us all these amazing tips so we can start looking after ourselves and therefore become better coaches, consultants, and service providers. So
you're so welcome.
Where could we find you? If there's anybody who's watching right now and thinking, do you know what? There's no way I can do this by myself. I need Shayn to come on board and help. Where do I find Shayn?
So the best way and my favorite way to connect with people is through Facebook. So, I have a lot of amazing content on my Facebook profile, on my business profile. So, my name is the only one that looks like that.
No, it is very...
I have a very unique spelling. So, Shayn Stavens, even if you type in Shayn, probably you're only going to find a handful of those if it's spelled that way, Shayn. And just connect with me there. I'm happy to answer questions and connect. I do free consults as well if people are interested in that. And you get, believe me, a lot of value out of that, so we could meet and chat for 45 minutes. The program that I created, I sort of alluded to, my group program is the Inflammation Solution, and you can find that online at inflammation-solution.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
You're so welcome. It's been my pleasure, and I'm really happy to be here.
Maybe you should come back and
totally. Next time we can talk about some of the more airy-fairy things that I do related to the mind-body connection. I am a master practitioner of neuro-linguistic programming, so my work goes pretty deep beyond just food and nutrition.
Did you hear that, guys? We might have him back for another chat. I'll promise that I'll organize it for you. And for now, thanks everybody who's been watching. If you have any questions to Shayn, drop them in the comments below. If you're watching a replay, #replay. And if you need him in your life to sort this out so you don't feel tired, you don't feel stressed and exhausted, then reach out to him. As you heard, this is the only spelling you'll find, the only Shayn out there.
Totally.
Speak soon, guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.